Hey everybody, Jordan here, and today I am going to be recording. I guess the best way to put this is I'm going to be recording a video on my new beta build for the video game Super Shitball 2. Yeah, I know it sounds like a really crappy video game, but it's actually not a bad video game. I've been coding it almost entirely in processing. For the off chance that processing decides to lag, I've been using brackets a bit, which is a really great program. Um, I just got to do a quick shout out to Adobe for creating brackets because it's beautiful. I can change my font, I can change my color scheme, I can go through all my files on the side. It's just great, great, great project editor or a script editor, just basic text editor actually. It allows me to change my languages. Anyway, enough about blowing processing out of the water. Um, what is Super Shitball? It's like a fusion between Pong, Brick Breaker, and the famous old game where you remember that game when you were kids, you had to keep the ball up in the air, not hops, but like keep it up with like a balloon or something. You guys tried to not let the thing hit the ground. Basically, it's like that, but if you flipped it 90 degrees and had everything falling at the side, well, that's super shitball too. There have been a lot of iterations of this game even though it's only been alive for about 5 days. There are a lot of iterations of the game, and some of them better than others, some of them not. But currently, we're going to be looking at my newest version of it. It's still in development or it's still in testing. It is Super Shitball 2.2.1. It sounds like a whole lot going on there, but it's basically the 21st or so version of this game. I'm thinking about switching the version information and switching that to there to 2.021. I don't know if I'm ready for it to be 2.2 yet. That seems kind of far in. My bad. It seems kind of far in considering the game is still really deep into beta, or really, really freshly into beta. Just moved out of alpha. And if I have time, I'll show you one of the earlier renditions of the game if I have it set up here on OBS right now, but it doesn't look like I do. So let's go in, and this is basically what the startup menu looks like, and I'm actually going to run the game from the processing window. Um, Real quick though, shout out to processing for being a very, very quick, efficient sketchbook for creating indie games and stuff like that. Not necessarily like AAA games, but definitely for this kind of thing. Shout out to processing because I would not have been able to do this in less than 4 days. I spent probably about 12 to 15 hours on this video game, and it's pretty fleshed out. Couple bugs here and there, some features missing that should be in there, that will eventually get in there, but pretty fleshed out. And let's take a look at it. So this is super. This is it. This is the loading menu. You are presented with this beautiful, um, beautiful, just loading screen. You can randomize the colors here. Hovering over buttons lets you know which one you're hovering over. If you click on the about, it tells you basically all the stuff you need to know about the game, all my backers. Thank you, all you guys and more that have not been put in yet. Thank you guys for helping me get where I'm going on this game and supporting it and buying the really crappy versions. It used to be called Super. It used to be called Shitty Pong. No, sorry, it used to be called Shit Pong. it's been it's been a long 4 days. I have other games that I've created, including some of the earlier renditions of this game, which shall not be viewed today, maybe in a later episode. We can change the difficulty, which basically changes our paddle size. You can go in and play, and if you notice that that color you see here is actually the same color of your game. You got little animations when you hit the ball with the paddle. You can change all the different. You can. Oh, I missed that one. You can't hit the sides. It doesn't do anything hitting the sides yet. Um, I mean, it shouldn't anyway, because you'll just hit the paddle and go down. But let's see, come on, come on. Boop. So every time you hit it, it changes the color. Sometimes you'll get bonus modifiers depending on your paddle size. Right now, it tells you there's one shit ball on the screen. Um, your streak is 1, drops down to 0. Your score is 3, and the highest score currently is 3. It does save your high score between iterations and saves. It's really rudimentary save system, but it works for what we need it to. Sometimes it glitches if you quit the program really early after opening it, just based on the way that the file writes to the saving file and everything. Um, One of my favorite features of the game, actually, is the ability that even at this early stage, we have cheat codes. We have cheat codes. Actually, let me just show you this with the paddles. You can change the size in game between 1 all the way to 7. Now, going through and changing these increases your bonus modifier. So, for example, when you use a paddle size 1, every time you hit the ball, you get +1, plus +0.1 extra. Just +0.1 bonus points. When your bonus points hits 1, it basically adds 1 to your score. Sometimes you'll get a streak. Um, when you do 7, basically your +1, your plus +0.1 rather, turns into a plus +0.7. So now I get 1. So your score is an integer, but you can have a float somewhere in there. But anyway, going back to the cheat codes, we are allowed to input cheat codes into our video game, which is awesome. It's absolutely awesome, I think, in my head at least. And I'm gonna open up my little console log real quick. It's just gonna show all the buttons I've been pressing. Nothing too bad. Nothing. It's spammy, but nothing too bad. And then what you can do is you can just type in your cheat codes. So one of my favorite cheat codes is compensation 64. I spelled that wrong. Yeah, if you don't do it right, it doesn't input the cheat code. It tells you that the cheat code doesn't exist. Compensation 64. There you go. You know you did it right when it cuts you out of the game. And now you can see that little balls mode is enabled. So we're gonna play. Now my balls are really tiny. Really tiny. Which makes things a little difficult. We can also go in and I'll let you guys find all of these, but there's also Rave Party. Seizure warning, guys. If you are sensitive to flashing lights and things like that, you should probably look away now. For those who aren't, this is Rave Party. It is just damn. You can disable it by typing the cheat code again. For some that do that, there's also one of one of these: up, up, down, down, BBA start, which basically adds 50 to your score. So you start the game. There you go. Your score starts at 50. Um, there's also you can get infinity paddle, which basically makes your paddle the width of the screen or the height of the screen. So you get like super paddle. It's a great way to totally cheat the game. And then one of my all-time favorites is it is a random string, but basically you win the game. You get the highest score possible. Spawns 100 balls on your screen. Spawns your paddle so large that no matter what, you can never lose. It is physically impossible for your paddle to not be on the screen and filling the entire width because it's like 3 times the width of the screen, 3 times the height of the screen. You get a 50 modifier. You get an infinitely expanding streak, and your score just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And it looks great on little balls. You can even go in here and you can type in big balls, and you get giant balls that sometimes will screw up. It's only because they're the giant balls. Sometimes they screw up a bit. I don't know how they screw up, but sometimes they screw up. There are some bugs, but for the most part, it's pretty well fleshed out. Some of these guys have very awful velocities. Um, I mean, very awful velocities to the point where they are moving way too fast for the XY or the XZ value to process, and they'll actually get launched off screen. I have to limit the velocity that a ball is allowed to move to 6 because other than that, it actually runs faster than the frame rate of the game. It runs so fast compared to the frame rate of the game that it'll actually phase through an object between one frame and the next, and it will completely skip out on the collisions. So I have to figure out a way to either update the collision detection and use actual like physics based and plot the location previous frame, next frame, see if that collision or see if the line between those crosses over another point. I have to do that, or I have to just make sure that they slow down. If I go into the cheat menu and let's just change this back to 1, and let's oh, let me take this cheat code off and put it on the debugger. Right, I'm gonna set up the debugger. Ooh, okay. Chill out. Basically, what happens is you get a paddle velocity, which is how you can change the velocity of the ball depending on how you hit it. Um, you also get there's a velocity and a location of the ball itself, and this is the collision box for the paddle. I used a custom collision detection to make sure that it was always following the paddle. Um, Scroll detection, and that's about it. That's about the game right there. So you guys got a feel for how that works. Now, if I go back to processing and I scroll all the way down there, you'll see like there's a whole lot of code. But this is where the beautiful part comes in because this is where all the cheat codes are. And if you guys have suggestions for cheat codes and whatnot and other things, let me know. As of now, I want a way that lists all the cheat codes and what they do. And I'm thinking about putting in a cheat code that is just all cheats. Um, that would be pretty easy to actually do. And you know what? Let me show you guys um, how I do things in processing. Actually, I'm gonna bring this over to brackets for this one here. And if I scroll, trying to find it exactly where the cheat code section is. I still have to reorder the different chunks of code so that way it's a little more intuitive to follow things and find things and whatnot. But actually, I have more codes than I thought I did because there's no more paddle for you that I didn't show you. Bonus ball, bonus balls, ball soup. I didn't show you any of those, and I kind of want to now. So I'm gonna reopen the Super Shit Ball 2, and I'm gonna show you guys what were the cheat codes again. What were they? All right, let's look at no more paddle for you, because that's a fun one. No more paddle for you. And that one, oh, rather, you have to type in the G code after opening the level for the first time. I'm going to work on that and get that out of there because that's annoying. No more paddle for you makes your paddle literally the exact size of the ball, which makes it very, very difficult to play the game, but not impossible. Just very, very difficult. Um, I usually play with the debugger mode on and log just to make sure that I can see things while I'm debugging. Holy crap. But yeah, no, you gotta hit it right in that little collision box. Otherwise, you're not hitting the ball. Otherwise, you're not hitting the ball. Then let's take that off. If we go back in, then there's bonus ball, bonus balls, ball soup. So I'm going to show you what those do. Bonus ball just basically adds another ball to the screen. Oop. That's all bonus ball does. Bonus balls adds 2 to the screen. So now we have 2 extra balls. Ooh. Basically adds 2 balls to the screen. And then there's ball soup, which basically adds 5 balls to the screen. After that, then the next one, I believe that's all of them that you've seen at this point. Yeah, that would be all of them. Those are all the cheat codes that we have so far. I would love to add more of them. The problem with adding more of them is that it just requires more code, and I'm running out of ideas. Bam. That's beautiful. Can't possibly lose. Times 50 multiplier already. 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 points with a 250 streak coming up about now. Yeah, that's very difficult to get in game, and I want to add in a feature actually that disables your score from going up if you have certain cheats enabled that make things easier. Like this mode, your score should not go up, or your score could go up, but your high score should not be updating. You know, like it's BS because you're not even playing the game at this point. You're just kind of racking up points, letting things happen. Um, but yeah, so you can actually quit the game. You can quit the game, and right now we've quit. And I'll prove that we've quit because I'm gonna go hit play. It's gonna open up the new window, and you can see, it's loading or is a new window because the little line goes. You can hit play, and our score is still there. Even though we have completely quit the runtime, it's no longer running. We've started over, saves your score. So that's the great part about Super Shitball 2.2.1. And what I'm going to show you guys in a series of videos that comes after this, and excuse the terrible microphone and the fan going on in the background. I left my really good recording microphone at home in Long Island, and right now I am upstate New York. I'm in upstate New York. Don't have a mic, but I will be doing a series of videos explaining how to get to this point and make games and processing and stuff like that, and a simple Pong-alike game with classes, objects, and stuff like that. So tune in, feel free to give me suggestions, and yeah, welcome to Super Shitball development and beta build. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys look forward to seeing the future of this game.